Welcome to The New Next, a podcast that addresses current events and how they will impact the future. Co-hosted by the inquisitive public speaking champion, Mike McVeigh, and energy, economics, and technology expert, Matt Jensen. Join us as we explore all things energy, economic, tech, and political, and how they will affect our future. Well, we're looking at, we're seeing but we are but I guess what I wanted to confirm is that we are both seeing the same issue or the same problem, even though we both have different ways of how we think it should be resolved, or how it should, like whether it should be that way or shouldn't be that way. Because I think sometimes one of the biggest problems we have with a lot of the different topics we talk about, not you and me necessarily, but the people that are involved in these conversations, whether it be solar panels or whether it be continuing to use coal or Russia, Ukraine, that communication, people are not even agreeing with, like Russia and Ukraine aren't agreeing with what the issue is. Yeah. Russia sees it as one thing, Ukraine sees it another thing. China and Taiwan are not agreeing with what what's going on. They're both looking at it from completely different lenses, but they're not even acknowledging, like China might be seeing red and Taiwan seeing pink, and they're both calling it chartreuse or something. And but they're not looking at the same thing. All I'm trying to do right now specifically is that say, and you confirm this, that you and I are looking at the same data. We're looking at the same issues and stuff. Now I have my way of how I think it should go, and you have a way that's probably more correct of how it should go. But at least I can confirm that you and I are looking at the same problem, the same factors. Like we both see the same factors that are influencing this. Now you have better perspective on some parts, and I have a different perspective on other parts. But that's part of my poor mindset, I guess you could say, is. And I think this is completely relevant to what we do on the podcast, because you have the financial side on one hand, and then you have the what's best for the world on the other hand. And I know what stance I'm coming from, but I don't think that's a fair thing to say. Even though I think I'm looking at it from a world perspective, and I think you're looking at it from a financial perspective. That's what my instincts say, because I want to hold myself higher up, and I want to make sure that, like, I'm not just I'm bleeding for no reason at all. I'm also willing to admit, though, that I don't have all the understanding necessary to be able to make those calls, which is one reason why I like doing this podcast with you. And, like if I had the same conversation with other people, I would actually be getting upset. Like, no, you're not listening to me. You're not hearing what I'm saying. And so I like the fact that we can talk about this, and I'm still a little bit more animated than I would be on talking about some other subjects, but, just the fact that we're able to talk about this and it's not becoming like you dismissing what I'm saying, or, you're looking at completely different variables and data than I'm looking at. I believe that we are looking at the same things. And I do think it is a multi-layered, complex issue. And because of that, we're not looking at, neither of us have all the issues, but we can at least say that, this is an issue, and this is an issue that's all contained into this bigger issue. I think right there, honestly, that makes me like really happy, that we can all we both can agree on this concept. And then now, hopefully, our listeners out there, even wherever they stand on these issues, though they're probably going to lean closer to you because they're all smart. Because we have, what can I say? We have some of the smartest listeners out there. So thank you for listening to this podcast. But they can at least hear that they have some points to connect to, that you and I are on the same page, even though we might have different writers writing the events of these pages. Is that fair?
Yeah. I'm trying to look at it from like the incentive perspective, like what each group has in terms of incentives, but I think that's pretty fair. So,
and I honestly, I like this kind of discussion. I want you to convince me. I mean, probably more than anybody else, I want to think the way you do about this, but, I don't think I'm a fixed mindset. Cause you asked about that earlier. I don't think
so either.
But I think there's going to have to be if your goal is to convince me, and I'm not saying that is your goal, but if that is your ultimate goal,
not my goal.
Dang it. There's going to have to be a lot of bridge work that shows, on both sides, because the bridge has to connect to both points to, meet in the center and hold up.
Well, like we come from different perspectives. So you come from the perspective of maybe knowing a lot of people that can't participate in the market. And then I have a lot of perspective related from actually talking to the people that are making the investment decisions,
right,
on deciding what to do it and what their thought process is going into it and why they're making the decision, what they're doing. It's, I see the debate, like even out of people that I would say are, kind of independent media. So, kind of like a Robert Kiyosaki type of person, but aren't guru types that are more in the analyst kind of economist journalist perspective. Like, I see with them too that there's sometimes I don't know if they're caught up in the narrative or whatever, but it seems like there's almost like a battle, like everything in society right now. It's two sides going at. There's civil war on every single idea sort of thing that there is right now. But really the perspective is very in the middle. Like there's a lot of people are just trying to do what they do, and
I think
not trying to, not trying to F people over or anything. They're just trying to allocate money in an efficient manner that doesn't provide a lot of headaches with them personally for their quality of life, and they can make some money and build some stuff that people want.
If you would like to learn more about the New Next podcast, find us at thenewnextpodcast.com, where you can suggest a topic you would like for us to cover. If you enjoyed what you heard, share the podcast, tell a friend about it, or rate us with 5 stars.